The 10-speed transmission, while it works, it's amazing, but I've had a couple issues with it. So it's been 4 years with my 2019 Mustang GT, and today we're gonna talk about a 4-year ownership review of the Mustang. While I absolutely love this car, of course, there has been some downsides with this car that you guys have seen on the channel. So I wanna really give an honest impression of this car since I've owned it for 4 years. It has crossed over 40,000 miles. So we're gonna talk about all the good stuff with this car, some of the bad stuff with the car, just really give you a true impression of this ownership review. Especially it's starting to get to a long-term review at this point where we got 4 years, about 40,000 miles on this car. So if someone's interested in buying one of these, picking up a used one, or even buying a brand new and you're just not sure how the reliability and the maintenance and all of that is, this video is going to cover exactly that. So I'm going to go ahead and give you my honest impression of this 2019 Mustang GT in the 4 years I've owned it. So without further ado, let's dive right into the video. Okay, so I want to talk about what's on the car, then we're going to talk about the modifications I've done, the issues I've had with this car, everything basically you need to know if you were to buy this car or if you have just bought it and you're just not sure about the long-term plans for this car. So this is a GT Premium. That's how I spec'd it out. I do have the digital dash as well, which was a 401A package. No performance pack on this car because I knew I wanted to kind of customize the car how I wanted to see fit and did not want to go for the Ford Performance Pack. As you can see, I do have the blackout or the black accent package as well. So all the emblems, the pony, the 5.0 on the side. My personal favorite, the roof, is all blacked out, which really contrasts well with the modification, which we'll discuss a little bit later in the video. But yeah, so that's how the car came from the factory. I do actually have the active exhaust too, which was one of the things I was not sure if I wanted to get it on this Mustang. But the way the dealership had the active exhaust. And I had some reservations getting the one with the active exhaust. But I have to say that I'm so glad that my car came with the active exhaust because it's been a blessing. With a quiet start in the morning, it's really good. You're doing road trips, you want to put in the quiet mode, it works amazingly. Of course, I did get the aftermarket exhaust as well, so we'll discuss that. But the aftermarket exhaust I have on this car retains all the factory active exhaust features, so that also works out where I get to keep all the 4 different modes. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have on the car. It's a GT Premium with the black accent package and the active exhaust. Those were the features I went with on my personal build. So let's talk about the modification I've done since I've had this car, and then we'll also talk about some of the issues I've had with this car since the 4 years I have owned it. So to me personally, the biggest reason of getting a Mustang GT or any V8 car is the exhaust. So the first thing I did was upgrade my factory active exhaust to the Corsa Extreme active exhaust, and it sounds absolutely amazing. The best part is that it retains the factory active exhaust modes. I went with the chrome tips. I gotta clean this up, but yeah, I went with the chrome tips. There is an option for the black tips too. I kind of wish I had gone with the black tips to really match out what's going on the car. The next step, what I did is I actually got the tint on the Mustang, which is not really a Mustang specific mod. I got 20% all around, no tint on the windshield, as you can see right here. But yeah, you've got 20% all around. And then the third mod is actually on the interior of the things. I got these paddle shifter extensions, as you can see, just to match the red. So those were the first few basic mods I did to the car, really to kind of start the build. And then we kind of went a little crazy on the car. So let's go ahead and talk about that. So after all the basic cosmetic stuff was done, I wanted to change the car's look completely. And what better way to do that is than doing it with the spoiler. So I actually had the factory blade spoiler. I changed it with the GT500 replica. This is without the wicker bell, but this has really made the rear end of the Mustang very aggressive. So while all that was done, I wanted to change the stance of the car, and as you can see, the car is lowered. So I personally went with the Steeda progressive spring, which lowers the car about 1 inch. So I like how it sits. It's relatively flush. There's some wheel gap, of course, because it is my daily, but if you're looking at it from a distance, I love how the car sits. It looks amazing. It's really good. You can still daily drive it like I do, and I don't run into any issues with basically getting into speed bumps or anything like that. So the way it sits perfectly. You can tell the car is lowered, but without compromising on daily drivability or the ride quality, really. So I love these springs, and once that was done, I went to change up a little bit more. So the next thing we did is wheels and tires. As you can see, we went ahead with the SVE wheels that are SP2. So this is the Performance Pack 2 replica wheels in gloss black basically. And we changed the tires up to when we got the wheels. So we got the Michelin Pilot Sport all season. As I have to say, tires made such a huge difference to be able to enjoy the car, because you could actually put the power down compared to the stock Pirellis I had. So even though I normally say get the exhaust as your first mod if you have a GT, I say get the tires if you really want to have fun with your GT. The tires we got were the Michelin Pilot Sport all season, 285, 35, 19s all around. So it's a square setup, which means I don't have the staggered look for obvious reasons, but it allows for rotating the tire, which is going to be a daily driver friendly. So that's pretty much how the car sits since I've done all these modifications. I really love how the car has come out. I love the build. It's pretty much what I had envisioned when I got the car. I wanted to keep the blackout theme and, you know, just having a lowered car, nice sets of rim, meaty tires, and it really brings the whole thing together. There are a couple of things I'm considering to really finish out the build. One is going to be the front splitter to kind of match the aggressive profile of the car from the rear to the side. I think it's missing a front splitter to really have the aggressive look. So there's a couple that I'm considering, and I might also tint out the ambers on the headlights. I think that's gonna really have the nice black look on that. So the car was done pretty much in terms of cosmetics, and I had to do something with the power. The thing is, with these motors, they're pretty much maxed out from the factory, so there's not much you can do. But I did get a Lund 93 octane tune that's on the car currently. I'm gonna go E85 as well, just to see how that compares to the 93 octane. But 93 octane tune, despite being an NA motor, made some good difference. It also has kept the stock drivability, which I was looking for, because again, it isn't my daily driver. I was also trying to get the JLT intake, but doing all the research, I opted out of it because of the high temperature that you're running as your car is kind of stuck in traffic and all of that stuff. So I got the Canon drop-in filter, and while we were doing that, we also got the JNL oil separator on the passenger side. But yeah, that's what I've done to the car, all the cosmetic stuff, all the performance stuff. Next on the list for performance is gonna be E85 tune, maybe some headers, or we're just gonna save up and go for ESS kit. And for the cosmetic sides, I think once I get the front splitter, it's really gonna complete the front end of the car, and I would be really content with how it's gonna look. But of course, not everything is all sunshine and rainbows. So let's talk about some of the bad stuff I've had with the car. 10-speed being the main issue, but let's address all the issues I've had. I've covered this on the channel before, but the build quality, oh my God, don't even get me started. The build quality from the panel gaps, like this one right here, horrible. From this trunk alignment and various other places that I've noticed the panel gaps aren't just that good. Something basic that, you know, you would expect Ford to kind of have it nailed down. I wonder how the S650 Mustangs are doing in that regard. The other thing is that I've honestly just started giving up on it is the paint quality. I have so many paint chips. You see one right here, but the paint quality, I mean, I got some of these within the 6 months of ownership, and I do take care of the car. I wash it regularly and all that good stuff. So to me, it wasn't, I did not PPF it because my daily driver, but maybe if I had done that, that would have been a little bit better. But paint is so thin on these cars that I constantly get rock chips everywhere. Like, look at that, there's one right here. So I have pretty much given up on this car in terms of maintaining the paint quality on this car, because I just know it's not possible anymore. But yeah, the 10-speed transmission, while it works, it's amazing, but I've had a couple issues with it, and I want to kind of cover those. Hopefully, if you're looking for a used Mustang, yours don't have it. The good thing is they have been software related, so after a software update, they've been fixed, but I could see it being annoying when you pay this much for that car. Now, I have to say the 10-speed in general is an amazing transmission. I've done a lot of road trips in this car. I got really good gas mileage. I've seen up to 29 miles per gallon, driving it very, very conservatively. And the shifts are pretty snappy. You've got good pedal shifter response. All of that is good stuff. But I've had two issues with this where I've had to take it to the dealership. The first was pretty much when I got the car. If the car was in 10th gear, in normal mode, drive mode, you basically give it some gas for it to downshift from 6th gear or below, like from going from 10th gear to 6 or below, it will result in a very harsh downshift pretty much 90% of the time. And at first I thought the car was just learning how it's driving, so maybe occasionally it would do it, but it just got it where it would always do it. So I spoke to the dealership, I took it in, and they were able to replicate the issue, thankfully, and actually did a software update and went away. So then the car was good for, I want to say a few thousand miles, like 10, 20,000 miles. And then another issue popped up, which was completely unrelated. And that was every time you would have the car in sport mode and you're giving it good amount of gas, the upshift to third gear and fifth gear would result in a very aggressive jerk without fail. And that was only at partial throttle. So that was kind of funny because if you floored it, it was fine. But if you were just doing partial throttle, get to, I don't know, shifting around 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, it would be very aggressive jerk where it would really shake the car and was unpleasant. So I did the same thing. I took it to the dealer and they were able to replicate the issue, thankfully, and did another software update and fixed that problem. So while the problems have been fixed by taking it to the dealer and them taking care of me, I think that's something that shouldn't be happening. Like Ford should have the tuning down of the 10-speed transmission at this point. Having driven the 2024 Mustang GT, I think it's a lot smoother than this one, but it's just kind of odd that, you know, you have all these issues with the 10-speed transmission. There's no recalls for it yet, but there's a lot of TSB, so if you are experiencing any issues with the 10-speed transmission, I would make sure that, you know, you get some updates done, and hopefully that will fix the problem and you don't have to worry about taking it to the dealer and having your transmission replaced, because that would suck, paying this much for the car with a faulty transmission. Now, thankfully, there has been no other issues with the Mustang. It's been working like it's supposed to. The 10-speed has been the only big gripe that I have with this car. I love the transmission, but when it does work, but when it doesn't work, it's kind of annoying. So I've had that. Build quality, I think that's just Ford in general, the Mustangs in general. I used to have a 2006 Mustang GT that had a better build quality than this one, or maybe I just wasn't as particular, but I don't remember having all these issues. But with this one, there's a panel gap alignment, my seats kind of squeak sometimes, there's miscellaneous panels inside that I'm not going to bore you with that aren't aligned. But other than that, the car has been really great and just love it. I love how the car sits, love how everything I've done to this car, I love how this build has come together. It's pretty much what I had envisioned when I first got the car, and really, I am so proud of this build. Just a couple things left to do in terms of cosmetics, and then we'll talk about some big power to do as we kind of get to that. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video with the 4-year ownership review of my 2019 Mustang GT. I really hope this helps if you currently own a Mustang and you're wondering if it's gonna last a long time, or if you're in the market to see, you wanna buy a used one and to see if they're actually holding up. I always like to do these reviews because it helps the owners and, you know, potential buyers really know what this car is all about. It's a really fun car, but it comes with some issues that I wanna be transparent about. Something that you really won't see when people are reviewing brand new cars. They tell you about the features, they tell you about the performance, but they don't have it long enough to deal with the annoying issues with these cars, or have it, you know, long enough in terms of years where you kind of start experiencing reliability issues with these cars. So I think these videos are helpful to really help out those potential buyers and even owners of the Mustang. I'll do another in-depth video where I'll kind of break down the maintenance dollars I've had to spend on the Mustang, so it really helps out potential buyers know how much it costs to maintain a Mustang GT. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll catch you in the next one. And if you haven't done so, make sure you are subscribed to Red 50 for more videos.